What if I told you that one king stood against the greatest military empire on earth, not with alliances, not with superior weapons, but with prayer? What if I told you that Jerusalem was surrounded, mocked, and doomed by every visible measure, yet survived because one man refused to surrender his faith? His name was Hezekiah. He did not inherit a strong kingdom. He inherited a compromised one. Altars stood where they should not have stood. Trust had been placed where it never should have been placed, and Assyria was coming. This is not a story about military strategy. It is not a story about political survival. It is the story of a king who trusted God when every other option failed. Hezekiah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and Hezekiah began to reign when he was 5 and 20 years old and reigned 9 and 20 years in Jerusalem. 2 Kings 18:2. His father was Ahaz, a king who shut the doors of the house of the Lord, who sacrificed to foreign gods, and who led Judah into deep corruption. But Hezekiah was different, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that David his father did. 2 Kings 18:3. He moved quickly. He reopened the temple doors, restored the priesthood, and called the Levites to consecrate themselves. The house of the Lord, silent for years, came alive again. He destroyed the high places, broke the images, and cut down the Asherah poles. Even the bronze serpent Moses had made was destroyed because the people had begun to worship it. And he brake in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. 2 Kings 18:4. Hezekiah did not preserve tradition for tradition's sake. He preserved obedience. And he trusted in the Lord God of Israel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Judah. 2 Kings 18:5. At that time, Assyria ruled the world. Its armies crushed nations, its kings demanded submission, and its reputation alone caused cities to surrender. And Judah was small. In the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Assyria came, and Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fenced cities of Judah and took them. 2 Kings 18:13. City after city fell, and Jerusalem stood next. Sennacherib sent his officials to the walls of Jerusalem. The Rabshakeh spoke loudly in the language of the people, so all could hear. Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. 2 Kings 18:28. He mocked Hezekiah, mocked Egypt, and mocked the Lord. He claimed that no god had saved any nation from Assyria, and that the Lord would be no different. But the people were silent, for the king's commandment was, saying, "Answer him not." 2 Kings 18:36. When Hezekiah heard the words, he tore his clothes and went into the house of the Lord. The enemy's message was delivered to him in writing. Hezekiah took the letter and spread it before the Lord. And Hezekiah went up into the house of the Lord and spread it before the Lord. 2 Kings 19:14. And he prayed, "O Lord God of Israel, which dwellest between the cherubims, thou art the God, even thou alone." 2 Kings 19:15. He did not ask for survival first. He asked for God's name to be honored, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that thou art the Lord God, even thou only. 2 Kings 19:19. God answered, "Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, that which thou hast prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, I have heard." 2 Kings 19:20. The Lord declared that Assyria would not enter the city. No arrow would be shot there. No siege ramp would be built. That night God acted. And it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 180,500. 2 Kings 19:35. When morning came, they were all dead. Sennacherib returned home in disgrace. And it came to pass, as he was worshipping in the house of Nisroch his god, that Adramelech and Sharezer his sons smote him with the sword. 2 Kings 19:37. The empire was broken without a battle, and Jerusalem stood. Later still, Hezekiah became mortally ill. The prophet Isaiah told him to set his house in order. Hezekiah prayed again, and God added 15 years to his life. But after this, pride entered quietly. Envoys from Babylon arrived, and Hezekiah showed them everything: his treasures, his weapons, and his storehouses. And there was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah showed them not. 2 Kings 20:13. Isaiah confronted him. The days would come when Babylon would take it all. Hezekiah humbled himself, but the warning stood. From his life we learn this. Lesson 1. Obedience matters. Reform must be decisive, not partial. Reform must be decisive, not partial. Hezekiah did not negotiate with corruption. He removed it. Lesson 2. Prayer is not weakness, it is authority. When Hezekiah spread the enemy's letter before God, heaven moved without an army lifting a sword. Lesson 3. God can defeat what human strength cannot. Assyria fell not by strategy, but by divine intervention. Lesson 4. Deliverance does not excuse pride. Victory can become a doorway for arrogance if the heart is not guarded. Lesson 5. Faith may win the battle, but humility preserves the future. Even righteous leaders must remain watchful after success. Hezekiah trusted God when Assyria surrounded Jerusalem, but the story does not end here. After Hezekiah, Judah will be ruled by a child, a boy king who inherits corruption instead of faith, a king who discovers a forgotten scroll buried in the house of the Lord, a ruler whose obedience sparks the final revival before judgment falls. That is the story we will explore next. Hezekiah did not win because he was stronger. He won because he trusted God when surrender seemed logical. Jerusalem stood not because of walls, but because one king knelt. Empires rise, empires fall, but prayer still moves heaven. If God could stop an empire with one faithful prayer, he can still answer yours today. Just ask Hezekiah. Like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell me what you think of this story. How do the lessons help?